Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Govindaya Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Sacrifices leads to transcendental knowledge. And this section goes from verse number 25 to 33. So what we have discussed last time is working at the level of knowledge will free one from bondage. So Nishkam Karam Yoga leads to Gyan or knowledge. And at that stage, the performer of the work itself, and the purpose for that work is done, the whole aim is to realize the soul and super soul. Therefore, all is transcendental. That was the verse we have discussed. Brahma Arpanam Brahmavi Brahmana Gano Brahmana Uttam Brahmate Nagantavyam Brahmakaram Samadhina. And I last time told you that as we progress to chapter 9, instead of Brahm, Krishna will speak I am Yajna. So that what is Brahm is actually Krishna ultimately. Because Brahm is a effulgence of Krishna. Now, in this section from 25 to 33, we have different type of Karmakand Yajna. And they are divided basically into two groups. One is called Dravya Yajna. Dravya Yajna means sacrificing one's material possessions. The other is called Jnana Yajna, which means the sacrifice for pursuance of the knowledge. So, now whatever the different type of yajna which we are going to discuss, they fall into two categories. One is Dravya Yajna, other is a Jnana Yajna. When we finish this section, it is better you sit in groups and find out how many yajna we have discussed. And in each yajna, at least three things we should know. The performer of the yajna, the fire in which the oblation is offered, and the havi or the thing which is offered in the fire. Performer, the thing offered, and the fire. That we have to recognize. So let's start reading verse number 25. Devam meva pare yagnam Yoginaha paryupasate Brahma agno apare yaganam Yagneno upajovati. In this verse there are two types of yajna. So this verse 25 have two types of yajna. First yajna is Deva Yajna. Deva Yajna means sacrificing one's material possession and offering it to the demigods for the purpose of getting some higher benefit in heaven or on the earth. And this section has a one word which you must remember. Deva Yajna group is called Bahu Ishwarvadi. In the purport, there is a word called Bahu Ishwarvadi. Bahu means many, Ishwar means controller, Vadi means follower. So Deva Yagya are the people who follow multiple demigods as controllers. The next Yagya is of the impersonalist, in which they sacrifice their own self into the fire of Brahma Jyoti. And they merge into the Brahma. So, others means others, apare, karma yogis, yogina, karma yogis, engage in worship of devatas or demigods. Others offer oblation in the fire of Brahma by means of the ladle, yagnena. So, in this verse, two type of yagya, Dev yagya and Brahma yagya. So, Baldev Vidyabhushan says, having described how action become jnana, how our karma become jnana or knowledge, by having the quest for the Lord. When karma becomes jnana, when we pursue the soul and super soul. It means we work for knowing the soul and knowing the super soul. Then that work transforms into jnana. Now, different type of karma yoga. So here, Srila Prabhupada writes, as described above, a person engaged in discharging duties in Krishna consciousness is also called a perfect yogi or first-class mystic. Why? Why a person engaged in Krishna conscious activities is a perfect yogi or mystic? Because all his actions are to please Krishna. So they are at the stage of knowledge. Which knowledge? Knowledge of the soul, that soul is eternal servant of Krishna. And since he is offering all his action to please Krishna, therefore he is perfect yogi. Now Srila Prabhupada writes, but there are others. It means others who are not following the path of Krishna consciousness, who perform similar sacrifice and worship of demigods. They also sacrifice. You know, so many people go to the temple, to the different demigod temple, offer something there, coconut, some flowers, some fruit, even some Lakshmi. They do all that. So they are also there, and they perform only superficially. Prabhupada writes, such different kind of sacrifice in terms of different categories. Such different categories of sacrifice are different type of performance. Only superficially. They appear different superficially, but ultimately, factually sacrifice means to satisfy Supreme Lord Vishnu, who is also known as Yagna. So those who are sacrificing their demigods, ultimately demigods offer these things to the Supreme Lord because they recognize Supreme Lord as their master. So ultimately, sacrifice means yagya, and yagya is a name of Vishnu. All the different varieties of sacrifice can be placed within two primary divisions. Sacrifice of worldly possession, that means dravya yagya, and sacrifice in pursuit of knowledge, transcendent knowledge, that's called jnana yagya. So these are the two types. Now those who are Krishna consciousness sacrifice all material possession for the satisfaction of Supreme Lord, while others who wants to some temporary benefit, material happiness, sacrifice their material possession to satisfy demigods such as Indra, sun god, etc. So Krishna conscious people are already yogis. But the others who are sacrificing their material possession for the demigods, they are superficially they want to get the material benefits on this planet or in heavenly planet. The demigods are powerful living entities appointed by Supreme Lord for the maintenance and supervision of all material functions like heating, watering, lighting of the universe. It means sun, moon, rain, air, all different demigods in charge of different departments. Those who are interested in material benefit worship demigod by various sacrifices according to Vedic rituals. It means all these sacrifices which are described in this section are mentioned in Vedas. And since Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all the Upanishads, which are the extension of the Vedas, therefore these sacrifices are included in Bhagavad Gita. Now, those who worship the demigod, they are called, you see in a book, they are called Bahu Ishwar Vadi. And this is an allegation on the Hindus that they are Bahu Ishwar Vadi. They worship multiple gods. They don't know demigod, they say multiple gods. But others who, but this is now the second sacrifice in this verse. But others who worship the impersonal feature of the absolute truth, which means Brahma, and regards the form of demigod as temporary, because they don't worship demigod, because demigods are temporary. Their results are temporary. Therefore, they worship something which is permanent, and Brahma is permanent. Their individual selves, they sacrifice their individual self in the supreme fire, and thus end their individual existence by merging into the existence of the Supreme. So fire is a Brahm, and they offer their self into the fire of Brahm. Such impersonal sacrifice their time, how they reach to this stage, to sacrifice themselves and merge in the Brahm. For that, they do philosophical speculation. It means they read the Upanishad. They read the different scriptures, particularly the Veda, Upanishad and Vedanta, to understand the transcendental nature of the Supreme. Supreme is not material. They follow the path what is called neti, neti, neti. It is not this, it is not this, it is not this. It means it is not material, it is spiritual. And that which is spiritual is called Brahm by Jnanis. In other words, fruitive workers, now Prabhupada is summarizing. He is summarizing both yajna. He is summarizing first yajna, Dev yajna. Prabhupada is saying, in other words, the fruitive workers means Dev yajna performers. Sacrifice their material possession, it means wealth and other things, for material enjoyment. Whereas the impersonalists, which means Jnanis, sacrifice their material designation, which means their form, their identity as me. They sacrifice their designation with a view to merging into the existence of the Supreme. So what they sacrifice? They sacrifice their identification or designation. And therefore they sacrifice designation. It means they have no individual existence. They merge into the Brahm. And the example usually they give, like the drop of the rain mixes with the ocean of the water and become water. So drop has lost its individual identity. It has merged into the water. And how to refute this argument of the Mayavadis? Drop of the rain falling in the ocean and mixing with the ocean and becoming one. So we soul merge into the Supreme Brahm and become homogeneous one. How will you defeat this argument? Srila Prabhupada writes, in the ocean there are 9 lakh different species of aquatics. They are not merging in the water. They are enjoying within the ocean. So we will not merge in the Supreme, but we will live on the abode of the Supreme in association of the Supreme and enjoy His association.
But Prabhu,
Well, ultimately, mostly they are made of water. It's not they are merging into. So they are also human beings. They are human beings. They merge into the Brahma. So they are also individual. They merge into the Brahma and become one. The other example I am just giving, there are two ants, and there's somebody is just boiling the milk and making burfi. One ant says, well, I will stay just by the side when he is churning the milk, or when he is stirring the milk, some drop will fall and I will just taste that. The other ant says, no, I want to enjoy the whole. I want to just jump into the boiling milk. And when he was using the ladle, so that ant become one with the burfi. And the other ant was enjoying outside same burfi, but is not losing the identity. So the impersonalists, they lose their identity into the Brahm, while the personalists, they enjoy the Supreme Lord's association and keeping their own identity. Is it okay? There are two examples just I gave to refute this argument of merging into the Brahm. Then Srila Prabhupada writes, but for the impersonalists, the fire altar of sacrifice is Supreme Brahm. And the offering is the self, being consumed by the fire of Brahm. So, what they offer their self. In which fire? The fire of the Brahm. We are going to the next verse. Oh, Prabhupada, there's still few more lines. The Krishna conscious person, but now Prabhupada is comparing all these with a devotee. The Krishna conscious person like Arjuna. Prabhupada is giving example. However, sacrifice everything for the satisfaction of Krishna. And thus all the material possession as well as his own self, everything is sacrificed for Krishna. He also done everything. He himself also. But, Prabhupada writes, but, thus he is the first class yogi, but he does not lose his individual existence. Arjuna remain a person, a individual. He did not merge in Krishna. But he sacrificed everything for Krishna. So he is the best yogi. So what Srila Prabhupada has given the two type of sacrifices of the yogis, Karam yogis basically, and Gyan yogis, and compare them with the Bhakti yogi. So this verse has a comparison of the Karam yogi and Gyan yogi with devotee, and this is the whole substance of this subject verse. Now verse number 26. Yes.
Try to refute this argument, right? So, but they don't have problem with losing the individuality. That is the problem, no?
The problem is that they are frustrated. Because they think if we keep our individuality, then always we will suffer birth, death, old age and disease. And then they think that Krishna also has a body like ourselves and he may also suffer same thing. Therefore it is better the Brahma is higher than personal Krishna. Their understanding is that Brahma is higher than person Krishna. And Brahma, when he wants to appear in the material world, then he takes the form of Krishna and mode of goodness. That is what their understanding is. So basically the difference between the Mayavadis and the devotees is that Mayavadi says Brahma is the highest and Krishna is a manifestation of Brahma on the planet. What we believe that Krishna is the supreme authority and Brahma is his effulgence. We are just one opposite to one another. Now, my general common sense, if you have some individual, you make a photograph, you go on enlarging. One stage will come, then he will become impersonal. Is it possible? Yeah, is it possible? So person, if you enlarge, it will become impersonal. That is possible, that person can have impersonal aspect. But if you take a photograph of the sky and then you make it more smaller and small, will it be person? No. It means impersonal cannot be person, but the personal can have an impersonal aspect also. It is just common sense. So we are going to the next verse. There are two more yagya. So two we discussed and then two more we are discussing. Shrotradini indriyani anyay Sanyam agneshu jovati Shabdadin vishan anya Indriya agneshu jovati. The first two lines describe the sacrifice of brahmachari. In Varna ashram, brahmachari sacrifice all his senses in acquiring the transcendental knowledge. The second two lines describe the sacrifice of a grasta. So there are two sacrifices, one for brahmachari, one for grasta. What grasta is doing, well, he's not able to completely merge the senses into the mind and separate from the sense object. But Shabdadin Vishyan Anya, Shabd means sound, and other means touch, form, everything. Indriya Agnishu Jovati. They are not in a mind. One Sanyam Agnishu, Indriya Agnishu. There is a different fire for the both. Now, Naistiki Brahmachari, Anya, Naistiki Brahmachari, offer the senses, Shrot Adi Indriyani. Shrot means ear. Into the controlled mind, Sanyam Agnishu, controlled mind. So Brahmachari's fire is mind. Offering is senses. It means senses are not going out to the sense object, but senses are going inside to the mind. Fire is mind. And what they do, they only hear the transcendental literature. Now the next, other brahmacharis like grastas offer the sense objects. Sense object means touch and other things into the fire of senses. So there are two fires. For brahmachari, the fire is mind. For the grasta, fire is senses. What brahmacharis are offering? Senses into the fire of mind. While the grastas are offering? Sense objects into the senses. Sense object. What are the sense objects? What is the technical word for sense objects? Vishya. Indriyon ke Vishya. Indriyon ke. There are 5 Indriyon ke Vishya. Are the sense object. Form for the eye, touch for the skin, sound for the ear, fragrance for the nose, and taste for the tongue. So these are called sense objects, or they are called Vishya. Indriyon ke Vishya. Now Srila Chakravarti writes something, okay, that you read on your own. Srila Prabhupada writes, members of the 4 divisions of the human society, Brahmachari, Grasta, Vanprastha and Sannyas, are all meant to become perfect yogis or transcendentals. So Prabhupada is saying Varna ashram is to become perfect yogi. Since human life is not meant for our enjoying sense gratification like animals, the 4 orders of the human life are so arranged that one may become perfect in his spiritual life. That is simple language, that human is higher than animal is not for sense enjoyment. When you talk this line, so what was actually, I mean, when Prabhupada is writing this line, what he was thinking at that time, something like that. Teaching of Rishabdev to his sons. He asked his sons, what you will do now when you are grown up? He said, well, enjoy. He said, enjoy. The animals are enjoying. Vir bhujan. It means the pig is also enjoying. The cat and the dog is also enjoying. Tapo divyam putraka. Please do the austerities. For what purpose? Yena sattvam suddhyate. Purify your existence. And then what you will get? Brahma sukham anantam. Then you will get a eternal happiness. So sense enjoyment is temporary happiness, while this spiritual happiness at the level of Nama Sankirtan, Nam Anukirtan, Harera Nam Anukirtan, chanting the hearing of, from where this word Srila Prabhupada is taken. Can you see the small verse put here? Harera Anukirtanam. Is there word written there, Harera Anukirtanam? Yes. From where Srila Prabhupada has taken this? This is in the second canto, first chapter. I think verse number 11 or something like that. Just you Google that, is the word there? 2:1:11. Most probably. This is the way to read the Prabhupada's purport. When he is writing, there is something in his mind, and he is referring always. It means, this is taken from, for which word? Anu. Anu means following in the footstep of previous authorities. Anu Kirtanam. It's not Kirtanam, it's Anu Kirtanam, means Parampara. Where there is a word Anu, it means Parampara. It means following in the footstep of the previous connected. Right? I think anyway you are here sitting, but here on net I am disconnected. So Srila Prabhupada writes, marriage on the principle of religious life is therefore current in the civilization, in the all civilized human society, because that is the way for restricted sex life. So marriage is a... What is the meaning of pati and what is the meaning of patni? Marriage means pati and patni. Patyate iti pati. Pati means one who maintain the wife and offsprings. And what is the meaning of patni? One who protect the husband from falling down. Patni. It means patan hone se bachane wali. Patan hona means falling down. So the household is restricted, like just married to the wife and himself, that is all. The rest of the whole world, all the ladies is for mother for him. That is the standard Vedic culture. So Srila Prabhupada writes, this restricted, unattached sex life is also kind of yagna, because the restricted householder sacrifices general tendency towards sense gratification for a higher transcendental life. So from where Prabhupada is writing this? What do you think? Dharma vradho kamo asmi bharta rishabha. This is the verse 7. 7th chapter. Krishna says, I am that calm which is not against religious principle. And in 18th chapter also, Srila Prabhupada writes that 3 karmas are never given up. 3 actions should never be given up. Yagna, tap and dan. And yagya, Prabhupada there describe yagya means vivah yagya. That is also yagya. Though I am sannyasi, I am performing the marriage of my students because Bhagavad Gita says yagya should never be given up. So Prabhupada writes there like that. So now the next we are going to the next verse. Is somebody who will not be my net is disconnected. We are going to the next verse. Sarvani indriyani karmani, sarvani indriya karmani, prana karmani chapare, atma sanyam yogagno, jovate jnana deepite. So this verse describe another yagya. What is that yagya? Others offer the all activities of the senses, sarvani, indriyani, karmani. All actions of all the senses.
Hotspot here.
I put one, my heart is not working. So let us try the other one. Okay.
KRS mobile. That's a hotspot. You can search for it.
Which one is this?
KRS mobile.
KRS has not come yet. Oh, now it's here.
Yeah.
Okay. You have put what? Put. Hare Krishna. Any question?
If it's taking time, I can ask now or later.
Is it connected?
Yeah, I think I'm connected there. Let me disconnect this. Okay.
That mobile data should be on. This must be on, Roji.
Oh, this should be. Oh, this
Should be
one.
on. And then
Sarvani Indriya Karmani. And the Pran Karmani. What, how many prans at least you know? Huh? How many prans you know?